And welcome back to Ace of Vegas. Ace here, and I wanted to go ahead and discuss an interesting little rumor that's been floating around the business world. So, yesterday with my morning green tea, I discovered an article about MGM Resorts International. Now, if you don't know who those guys are, they are a large casino brand that also happens to own about a third of the Vegas Strip. They're in charge of several famous casinos like the Bellagio, the MGM Grand, the Mirage, Mandalay Bay, and literally anything that came out of City Center. They also happen to be one of the main sponsors for our signature game, My Vegas Slots, so this was actually a pretty important thing to me. So anyway, the New York Post, they had an article out that detailed a possible merger between them and Caesars Entertainment Properties. Caesars Entertainment, they're one of the other mega corporations on the Strip. They're in charge of Bally's, Rio, Flamingo, and of course Caesars Palace, among about 4 or 5 other properties on the Strip as of late. So the short of the article is, I'll go ahead and link the full article in the description box below, but let's give you the abridged version right here. The abridged version is, nobody in Vegas is doing great right now. MGM's underperforming, Caesars is underperforming, both of them are down by about 15 and 25% in their stock prices respectively. The thing about the possible merger or acquisition is that Caesars isn't holding a strong hand here, so they have a really high probability of getting hit by something. Primarily because, number one, they're bankrupt. They've been in Chapter 11 since something like 2015, 2016. I think they've been trying to climb out of it, and they've been posting some good profits and all that, but they're still struggling with the whole bankruptcy thing, so that's a big problem. Two, we already talked about the stock price. They're sitting at like $9 or $10. It'll probably be about $9.50, maybe $10 by the time this video comes out on Thursday. So I'll probably have an updated stock quote right before I post it. I'll do my best to go ahead and put one out there, and we'll go ahead and go from there. But that's what we're getting at. But the third most important thing is they don't have a CEO right now, and I don't mean it in the literal sense. What's his name? Mark Fisora or something along those lines. Friesora, excuse me. It's Mark Friesora. He is stepping down. I believe it's going to be effective February 8th, 2019. He will no longer be the president and CEO of the Caesars Entertainment brand. He got signed on in 2015 to go ahead and try and work him through the whole bankruptcy thing, and apparently it's just not working out, so he is stepping down a notch. I mean, now keep in mind that Jim Murin and MGM aren't exactly doing gangbusters numbers either. Yeah, they posted some good profits last year. I think about $2.1 billion in profits at the end of the year last year. And they also were sitting about $28 a share as of Wednesday night, if I remember correctly. It's probably a little bit higher, a little bit lower now that it's Thursday night too. But just something to keep in mind, something to think about right now. So they're not exactly doing perfect, but they're in a better position than Caesars is right now, so just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that they came back from pretty much the abyss about 10 years ago when the real estate bubble popped, at the end of the election and all that, when there was the big crash and all. That's when that's when MGM was on life support. They were sitting at something like $2 a share. Now they're back up to 28, so that's significantly better than they had been doing at one point. So just some food for thought there. So that said, if they do the merger, I think it actually could be a pretty cool thing for players. One, I love the idea of some potential expanded My Vegas comps. I think Caesars Palace is a beautiful property. I think Flamingo's great. I love Paris. And Caesars also hosts all the Gordon Ramsay restaurants like Steak, Burger, and the newly acquired Hell's Kitchen too, which I think is just outstanding, really. So I really love the idea of being able to maybe get some comps for those two. I like the idea of being able to use my M Life card pretty much at any casino I wander into. I mean, you got to keep in mind they'll have something like 17 hotel casinos on the Strip. You know, give or take some of the specialty properties where you got, Signature at MGM Grand. That's kind of included in the whole little deal. As is Delano and Four Seasons. They're in that kind of Mandalay Bay sort of umbrella there, so obviously there's a couple liberties taken with how many hotels and casinos there are. But just the fact that I'd be able to wander into any one of them with my regular M Life card and feel pretty good. Anything I do is going to count towards my points. That'll be pretty cool too. And it's just really convenient to have everything just in one place. I'll be able to go to mlife.com. I'll be like, you know what, I want to go ahead and go to, Mirage one day, but I also want to make sure that I can have my reservations at Hell's Kitchen. And let's go ahead and buy some tickets for the High Roller. The link, boom, all in one package. That sounds outstanding. But there's a darker side to this too. We were just talking about how MGM owns about 9 out of the 27 casinos on the Strip. I know there's technically like 29 right now, but Resorts World and Fontainebleau's Drew aren't finished yet, so we're just going to call it 27 for the duration of the video, okay? Okay, good deal. Anyway, though, so MGM owns about 9 out of the 27 major properties on the Strip, and then Caesars isn't far behind. They've got 8 of them under their belt. So if we put them all under one roof, we're looking at about 17 out of 27 properties are going to be controlled by one entity. So straight away, that's already about 2/3 of the Strip right there. Which means that, if anything ever happens to the new MGM Caesars Entertainment Group, the Strip could die very, very quickly, is the thing. I mean, 2/3 of the property is gone, 2/3 of the gaming gone, 2/3 of the revenue gone, just gone in a single shot. Another thing I'm concerned about is a lack of competition. I mean, I know that One and Encore are still there. I know that we have the Fontainebleau, the new Fontainebleau hotel, the Drew. They've been working on that for like a million years, but that's finally coming out in 2020. I know that's coming. I know Genting Group's getting together, and they're getting their Resorts World casino ready, which is grandiose even by Strip standards. I mean, for the love of God, they're gonna have a theater, then they're gonna have a movie theater that's separate from the theater, and they're also gonna have a panda exhibit in the middle of the hotel. Like, what are you gonna do with that, really? But so, I mean, the competition's still going to be there, but that's not going to be as much competition, and that's kind of a concerning sort of thing. And then also keep in mind that the Strip is no stranger to failures in these recent years. I think the Boyds, they actually blew up the Stardust on the Strip and wanted to go ahead and build something that was similar to City Center that MGM built in 2009, and unfortunately it didn't go so well for them. They actually went bust on the project, and we just lost the Stardust, and the Boyds were out some money there. The project was just kind of sitting there. And even recently, I believe the auction was in February, or it started in February, but we recently had the auction of the Lucky Dragon, officially October 31st, I believe it was, on Halloween. And that didn't get purchased, but that casino was closed. That casino opened in December of 2016. That opened 2 years ago, just under, and it's already gone. If anything does happen, anything big happens to Caesars, MGM, they're gone too, and then there's just no competition left whatsoever, and all these casinos could potentially collapse. We could lose the whole Strip. You know what? Even if they don't fail, how apt are they going to be to compete? I mean, if you own 2/3 of a city, would you particularly care what everybody else was doing? Would anyone else have the resources to compete with what you were doing? I mean, at that point, you could decide that slot machines should only have a 77% payback rate. And then, what's anyone else going to do? Alright, well, MGM Grand thinks that 76% is appropriate. I'll go over to Caesar's Palace. No, sorry, they think that 77 is appropriate. So yeah, for us, the players, that could mean tight slot odds. That could mean worse table rules and worse table odds. That could mean more resort fees. That could mean bigger parking fees. Just the whole 9 yards, and there just wouldn't be much to do about it, because if you walk to another casino, it'd be just another MGM Caesars casino, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about that either. Now, granted, Wynn and Encore's still there, and they're not exactly doing gangbusters either. Their stock is significantly stronger at about $110 a share right now, but that's down quite a ways from January, where they were nearly $200, and they're recovering from a pretty bad year with things going on with their boy Steve. Old man Steve's not helping them out so much, and I'm sure that's a major concern too. But that being said, end of the day, I'm sure they're looking for the lifeblood, but end of the day, the merger may not even happen, and the impact may not even be that great on players. Worst case scenario, hey, there's always downtown. We may just take our business to the D downtown, the Four Queens, and the Nugget, and I guess we'll just turn this from my Vegas channel into a Binions channel. So I do hope that it doesn't come to that. I do hope that we get to keep doing that. I really do love MGM, and I love MLife and all that, but you know, if they get too big for the britches and start doing some unfortunate things, then hey, we can go ahead and vote with our wallets, take our business elsewhere, and maybe that'll be strong enough to go ahead and let Jim and Mark know what we're made of. But until then, I'll go ahead and stay abreast of the story here and let you guys know if anything else changes. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. Happy spinning, you guys.